So on Sundays, right before the panel discussions, usually what we do is have everybody who has either like a demo or a vendor table or whatever come up and share just a couple brief minutes of what's going on back in the vendor room if you haven't had a chance to get back there. Where's Christian? So our sponsor is missing. So who was here last year? Okay. So last year, he's the one that had the tents, advanced shelter systems. Anyway, I'll have him come and share whenever he's in the room. But he was actually kind enough to become the one and only sponsor for this conference, which that obviously helps us out. But I'll let him kind of share his own story when he's here, maybe tomorrow during the panel discussion or before the panel discussion or something. So for right now, we'll just kind of go down the line. Everybody can kind of come up, spend just a couple minutes, and they're just going to share what's going on back in the back room.
Thanks a lot, Aaron. We appreciate you. We have a table back there, and you're all here about technology, and I'm not the techie guy. I am the farthest from that. I don't live in your world. But I do understand something that is changing lives. It is a technology of redox molecules that are ingested, and they come in a liquid form or a gel form, and they are biologically activated, so the molecules are absorbed sublingually. They're not a digested molecule, and we just appreciate if you stop by and learn. We have a website that you can buy from, or you can get some at the actual site at the table. So thank you very much.
My name's Rob Teifeld, and I'm with the Energy from the Vacuum Group. And a lot of you already know who we are. We'd started this out with Tom Bearden and John Bedini, and we sell DVDs and books. And most of our material is from Tom Bearden and John Bedini. And we do have a new release out this year. And can't really see this, it's kind of green. It's called the first Bedini Bearden basement tape. Now what this means is, back in the day, decades ago, John Bedini would be doing experiments, and he'd have a little video camera, and he would send the video off to Tom Bearden to critique it or just get his input on it, some feedback. And these tapes ended up in Tom Bearden's basement. So they're called the Bedini Bearden basement tapes, and we do have the first one out. And we also have the Specula journal. I'm trying to juggle all the stuff, excuse me. And this was from the Journal of the American Association of Metascience, which was Tom Bearden's thing. So this, we have the first four issues back from 1978, and we're selling them as a set here at the conference. And we do have conference specials on all of our materials. It's about a third off, so it's a good time to order it here at the conference, even though you can get them online. Thank you.
Steve Ellswick.
Thank you, Aaron, for having me here. My name is Steve Ellswick. I've been working with the Tesla Technologies since 1984, and we specialize in energy, health, and extreme physics. And I discovered early in my life, when I was in the Army, that the only way you can ever be free is if you control both your energy needs and your medicine. If you don't have control for that, you're not free. And we are dedicated to bringing forth these kinds of technologies, highly supportive of Aaron's efforts too, to bring this stuff to fruition, because it's the only way that you can never be free in this dimension we live in. And we publish a magazine called Extraordinary Science and Technology, and that comes out quarterly. This year we're running a little bit late. And then we also have a conference every year and I've been doing them since, like I said, 1984. So I've seen a lot of technology out there, and I think we're really close to a big breakthrough. And I have a feeling this year you're going to see some great strides in anti-gravity, which I believe the government already has, and that's what you're seeing up in those skies. And thank you very much for having me.
When's your conference?
Well, my conference is August 7th through 11th, and I'd love to see you all there. Anyone who signs up here gets a 30% discount. So,
Website.
and my website is www.teslatech.info, and we have downloadable programs up there as well. So, and we have lots of books back there, so please stop by and see us while you're here. Thank you very much.
Right. Thanks, Steve.
Just gotta grab the turbines from back here.
Okay.
So basically, we read this. I'm Jeremiah, and this is Dr. Guy Wilson from Energy Supply. We were turned on to a patent that nobody seems to have seen before. It's the production of high vacua, apparatus for the production of high vacua. In the first paragraph of that patent, here's actually a picture right here. He states that by reducing the back pressure in his turbine with this patent, you can increase the efficiency from 50 to 100% by reducing the back pressure in the exhaust from 14 pounds of atmosphere down to 1 pound per square inch. So most people only build a single stage Tesla turbine. This is the single stage turbine in the center here. There's the second stage is on the top and the bottom of the turbine. So the effect that we can show here with this turbine is that when the rotor's rotating, it pulls a vacuum in, and a normal Tesla turbine will blow air out the direction that you're blowing the air in. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to spin it up. This is also on magnetic bearings. So let's see. You got the lighter? I got it right here. So what we'll see here, what you would normally see if you tried to put the flame on the intake, is it blowing out. It would blow the flame out. But what we got here is the vacuum. And the vacuum, it creates a lower pressure inside of the turbine because we're using centrifugal force from our second stage to throw the particles out of the way. And what it does is it sucks the back pressure out of the turbine, which allows the particles to be able to move exponential speeds through the turbine. And otherwise, they would lose their velocity because they'd run into slower particles that are clogging up the turbine. So you can see, you'll be able to see that it draws that vacuum by the lighter, pulling the flame into the turbine. And that's the effect that you're looking for to get your 100% efficiency. Another thing is we're starting off with burning just regular propane. We're actually using Aaron's plasma ignition to enhance and add water to the combustion system. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get that running because at the last moment we ordered some stuff on Amazon that would only get here in time for the conference, but it wasn't exactly what we needed. So we'll just be running regular plasma or regular ignition. We got our pulse jet outside that we'll be demonstrating at 5:30. So not only can you use the power that you get from the fuel and partially from the water, from the combustion, but you because it's drawing in ambient air during the process, and the faster you get this rotor spinning, the more ambient air it draws in, the lower the pressure gets, and the more ambient air can actually assist the rotation of the shaft. So you can get 100% efficiency from your fuel, and we're predicting that it can even run on just ambient air without any combustion. Tesla, in a book called The Power of Increasing Human Energy, Tesla talks about his self-acting machine, or self-acting engine. You can read about that in The Power of Increasing Human Energy, but he wanted to draw energy from the fluid medium, which is basically the air that we're breathing right now.
I got a question. On your pulse jet, can you tell them what the difference is with regular ignition and then with the plasma?
Well, with regular ignition and with the plasma, first of all, we can't add water to the system with the regular ignition because it'll just snuff out the spark and it'll stop working. But when we add water with the plasma ignition, it does ignite, and it does ignite some of the water. It splits it into hydrogen and oxygen and burns it in the same instant of time. It makes the pops louder, it makes the explosions louder, and you can hear a definite increase in power from that plasma ignition.
And so demos at 5:30 and 7:30?
5:30 and 7:30, yes. But we'll just be running it for a brief moment of time. Without the plasma ignition and without adding the water, it's a little bit warmer. We created the pulse jet with just some crude resources that we had. So we actually ended up using JB Weld to weld the spark plug into the combustion chamber. So
What's your website?
our website's ironenergysupply.com. We threw it together at the last moment, so it's kind of crude right now, but you can get some information there, and you can see our YouTube channel. We'll be adding more things to that at a later date. We'll be putting, we want to sell Tesla turbines with 2 stages, and we also want to sell the Tesla valves and some other products in the future.
All right. And yeah, thank you. Paul Townley in the UK has been posting an energetic forum and in Facebook posting a lot of stuff on this Tesla turbine project. And Jeremiah has a Facebook page where they're also posting a lot of videos and sharing this. And out of all these years, this is just a little model here. They've done actually a lot of work. A lot of money has been put into the project in the UK and with what Jeremiah and Dr. Wilson's working on. And they've taken the Tesla stuff beyond anybody that I've seen. And that's Tesla's own words, that by doing this type of system, you increase it from 50 to 100%. That's what Tesla is saying. And so, yeah. So these are, yeah, this would be maybe at so if you have any questions, just meet them at the booth, and that,
Yeah.
we won't have time to cover this right here.
So can I mention one thing about the turbine?
Okay,
We will be auctioning off this turbine to help us build the new aluminum turbine. It's basically just a demonstration. It's not balanced, so it will show the vacuum, and it has that effect. So it's a silent auction. So we've got some papers on our booth over there that you could just write your name and number down and how much you would like to try to purchase it for or bid for.
You'll be supporting our cause. Thank you.
Can I mention what school you went to?
Embry-Riddle Aeronautical University.
He went to Embry-Riddle for a couple years. They did not like what his interests were, so shame on you.
They said Tesla wasn't as smart as I thought he was, and that they've already tested his stuff in simulations. And so I thought I need to go learn this somewhere else. I need to learn this on my own because I'm not going to get what I'm looking for at the college. So.
Yeah. Embry-Riddle will regret that.
Thank you.
All right. Huh? All right. That's fantastic. Thank you, guys. My name is Dan Stahosky, and I'm here with my partner, John Third, and I'm with Essential Energy. I started Essential Energy a couple years ago to help bring an amazing biophotonic technology to market. This is applying a lot of theory and a lot of science around plasmonics and biophotonics, so really on the shoulders of Fritz Alfred Popp, Rife, Tesla, and others that said that alternating current, as much as it's going to propel our technology forward, it has biological impacts. It's not very healthy for us. And so with this technology, we're harmonizing that. It's the only product that I know of that takes care of both the electrical and the magnetic fields and actually harmonizes them so they're biocompatible. And our booth there, we have these plates. All we do is we tune these, but we tune them to resonant harmonic frequencies that are counter to the man-made frequencies that are harmful, and they become biocompatible for us. You can test that with breathing, And we've kind of ran out of good demos in the building because we've conditioned them all. But outside, we have a transformer across the parking lot that you can look at. Your eyes are amazing photoreceptors. They actually perceive the entire electromagnetic spectrum, and those conditioners, electricity, puts stress on the eyes, which puts stress on our oxygen, and I can tell you more about that at our booth. But that one out there, one of them is conditioned. There's another one over here. One of those is conditioned and one isn't, and I think you'll be able to tell by looking at them and breathing, and we can walk you through how to do that. But anyway, appreciate being here, Aaron. It's fantastic, and I love just getting to talk to a lot of people about how we are applying biophotonic technology. Thank you.
Thanks. Yep. And I'll just say, Dan is actually based in Spokane, and somehow he met Paul Babcock and was telling Paul, I just found out that there's this conference out in Hayden, and you should really go. And Paul's like, oh, really? And then I was talking, and about a month before then, electrician friend of mine here, he came and brought me this stack of plates up north, completely separate. And I'm talking to Paul, and he says, yeah, I'm talking to somebody about something. He didn't give the name or whatever, and I'm thinking, I wonder if it's the same person. And it turned out to be Dan. And then I'm talking to somebody else that was at some medical meeting thing, and he says, oh yeah, the stack of plate thing. So 3 separate people individually came to me. I mean, it was kind of crazy how that was working out. But when we were running the MWOs at our shop, a couple times, one of those were in somebody's hands sitting in it, and something changed where I almost felt like my legs were going to fall out from under me because I started feeling kind of light. And I didn't know if it was my imagination. I'm standing there, and it's actually increasing a little bit stronger and stronger. And I look over, and one of my friends looked at me, and he says, do you feel everything kind of getting light? And I'm like, you actually feel something like that too? Because I thought it was me. Then he brought a bigger one, and me and Jeff are in a room separate from the MWO. And both of us are feeling like getting kind of overwhelmed where the sensation is a little bit too strong. I have absolutely no idea really what that technology is. There's something to do with plasmonics. I'm not familiar with it. I looked it up, and there's a huge field of some plasmonics and the surface treating of metal and all this kind of thing. So there's really quite a lot to it. But ask Paul what he experienced when you get a chance, outside of the later on. So, but I just wanted to mention that because there's something to it. I don't know how it works, but there's something going on. So.
Well, my name is Eric Nissen. I'm with Teslagenics, and usually the face of our company is Tom. Usually the face of our company is Tom Child, so he's much better up here at presenting. So I'm a bit uncomfortable with this. But we do some battery chargers that John Bedini used to make. We do the wooden SG kits, and we have some Rife products and some Rife antennas as well. If any questions, I would say just come over and talk to me.
All right.
Thanks, Eric. Mr. Ken Roshan.
You better believe it. So those of you who have not smiled and taken a picture, I can put you in a book called Keep Smiling with Aaron as the author. And we have several other people who've stepped up to the plate and want to tell their story of who they are. So if you want to take advantage of that, please let me know before I leave. And if you have a reason that you'd like to have your product, service, or you seen by 10 million people, thank you. You can actually talk to me. We have 2 people that have already stepped up. ShiftPod's one of them, who's going to have their ad in every single one of the Keep Smiling books. So Aaron is, I'm very thankful to him because he's bringing great minds together, and I want to amplify the goodness. So thank you very much, Aaron.
Thanks, Ken. So, RS, do you have that new updated paper? Or do you want to just tell them yourself? Yeah, okay.
All right. Once again, I have the Ferris wheel motor. I was very blessed to have acquired it. And what I want to do is do my GoFundMe so I can fund working on it and studying it over the next year, and then bring it back up here next year for a presentation. And for the top 10 donors, for the attendees here at the conference, up till tomorrow noon, I will give out 10 free t-shirts, your choice of sizes, and what the sizes I have left over will be for sale after that point for $25 each. So fund me, and I'll be back next year with the Ferris wheel.
All right. Hey, is it fair to say it's going to be the true first full disclosure of actually what the machine is?
Yeah, everything that
Yeah.
I can find out about it.
Yeah, everything is going to be right there. So, and that hasn't been done before.
I intend to map out the magnetic fields, especially on the center motor, the hub motor. I want to map out the fields around the mag amp with the linear Hall effect current sensor, field sensor, and just do a full study on it, best I can do. Then I want to add a few things to it, hook it up to my poor man's swapper system that I had last year, add a larger coil to it and one of my circuit boards, and do the back popping to the charge battery and see if I can get that baby to just keep running, because it should. Where the 6-coil machine was pulling about 8 amps, this machine only pulls 3 1/4. So that's a whole lot of different amperage on a golf cart battery compared to 8 and 10 amps. So I think it's very much more doable with this machine than the other one. I also have several 1600 amp hour batteries that I want to use this machine to charge and see if I can't power the house. I mean, literally. So I have 8,000 watts of inverter. So I can do it if I can get this machine to charge the batteries the way it should.
Okay. All right. Thanks, RS.
My name is Dr. Ingrid Heitch. I have a ridiculous moniker called Dr. Ingrid just because I was on YouTube and we didn't want to put my last name up there. But please call me Ingrid. I'm a professor at North Idaho College. I actually just returned to teaching last year. I teach pre-med courses. I was retired medically in 2014 due to a T-cell lymphoma diagnosis. I was an NIH-funded researcher, so when I was diagnosed with lymphoma, I thought, oh, these are my people. Of course they know what to do. Allopathic medicine is for me. So I went headfirst into chemotherapy like most people do when they get into that, your fight or flight thinking, because you're going to fight and beat that cancer, right? So that's where I was. 3 months into it, it obviously wasn't working. I was dying. I was on my deathbed. It took a few years to recover from that. Long story short, I tried all the holistic medicine. Well, not all, but as much as I could find and try. And I could get the lesions for the T-cell lymphoma to stop spreading, but I could not seem to get the symptoms that I dealt with every day, that on the outside I looked healthy, no one would know, but on the inside, you know, I'm on disability, I'm in bed 5 to 7 hours a day, night sweats, drenching, all kinds of things that I'll just spare you details. And so 4 or 5 o'clock at night, oh, we got to go home. Mom's looking tired. Go lay down. And I have 4 kids and all of that. So it was a burden on me and on my family. So with that, from that standpoint, you have eyes to see and ears to hear. And so I found biomagnetic polarity. This is a protocol that was just recently translated into English. Let's see if I can switch hands here. It's been, now it's being taught in the medical school curriculum in Spain and in other places. So I'm going to just try and go through this. My slides are animated, so they kind of keep me on a time clock so I can be less than 5 minutes. Okay, here we go. All right, so I'm here in the Spokane area, and I'd like to just first jump into some of how this works. We know from our MRI functional data studies, where they send stimuli at you while you're being scanned, that if you have negative stimuli, bad thoughts, I'm a cancer magnet, I'm never going to get over it, well, you're never going to recover. You certainly will be. And I discovered that. I had 3 more cancer diagnoses after the first one. Here we see that we too emit an electromagnetic field. So when I was listening to the conversations on Thursday, these fascinating talks about the system being a closed system, and we're talking about ether and energy, my perspective, from my perception, is you're designing a system within a system. So we got to think about the whole system that we're looking at. Okay, so back to my schematics here. We know from the equator right here, up in latitude or down in latitude, the farther away from the equator, the longer time our biomagnetic pairs need to be on your body in order to have an effect. We have a black and a red, which are just colors so you know which poles to put on your body. And I know you're going to hopefully have questions. If I'm doing a good job, then ask me at the booth afterwards. All right, so what we have are our red and our black color-coded biomagnet pairs that we would put on your body in a pair formation. And we have over 1,000 pairs that have been annotated over the last 30 years meticulously in Spanish, which correlate to certain conditions that certain individuals might experience. This was first discovered by Dr. Richard Bromingmeyer, who was a NASA medical doctor, and he saw that there was a difference in the leg length between for the astronauts when they came back to experiencing the magnetosphere, and he thought maybe that's why. So if you ever heard of having a magnet in your shoe or in a back brace, it came from Dr. Richard Bromingmeyer. All right, so let's jump to Kirlian photography. If you want to visualize that energetic field, that magnetic field, this is one of those ways that you can do that. We are energetic beings, so the food we put into us needs to be of high frequency energy value as well. If I drink, if I put bad things into my system, I won't be as good of a facilitator for biomagnetic therapy for folks. We also find that magnetized water has many benefits. I can go through this in detail with you at my booth after this little brief moment of intro to it. But we find that when you fertilize water or your chicken feed and you have it magnetized, or the water that you're using for your garden and it's magnetized, we can see results like this as opposed to a very expensive reverse osmosis protocol right here, right? So what I do is I walk around with a magnet taped underneath my water bottle throughout the day. It's a poor man's attempt to have the magnetized water, but without having to pay for all the money to do that. So moving on here, we can see here lettuce that's been grown with magnetized water. Also, you can see if you have chickens, their feed had been magnetized. You'll see that they lay bigger eggs as well. So that's pretty neat visualization to see that. Same thing for us humans. If we were to go ahead and have magnetized water that we're drinking, we're going to see an improved pituitary function. Hair grows stronger. Kids grow taller. Looking at the way that a cell looks, a diseased cell, we're going to see an imbalance here in the pH. It's either too acidic or it's going to be too basic. And that's what a microbe, a pathogenic microbe, needs to set up shop and to reside in your body successfully. So what the magnets do is that they help us to improve blood flow. We can see magnetized blood versus unmagnetized. It improves flow. So the same thing's going to be happening with your pipes with water if you were to put the magnets on your water as well. Any deposits will be pushed through. Here we're looking at a before and after from my mentor, Dr. Garcia. Here we had an individual who was I don't say the word treat when I'm talking about myself, but he's a medical doctor, so he can treat his patient and he can cure them. I'm a PhD, so I won't use those words with you regarding my work. After just having a three weeks, one session, that's the difference in his hand's appearance. Here we have, if we look under a scope and you were looking at blood, people that have a disease state typically are going to have this rouleau formation. They're going to have aggregates of their blood. If you magnetize that blood, you'll see that it looks like on the right side, it's grounded. The rouleau formation, a little bit more in depth here. This is the erythrocyte aggregation. Again, this is going to be very common for individuals that are in a disease state on the macro scale that someone might observe. Almost done. Excuse me. Here is Dr. Garcia. These are just some of his before and after pictures because we are scientists here, right? So we need to see that reproducible evidence, correct? Here we have that publish or perish. We must be able to reproduce what we're observing. A lot of folks might have some of these red rashes on their chest. Well, energetically, what that oftentimes appears as is English measles. So we do the pairs for English measles, and that rash slowly starts to go away. The principles of the theory were based on Dr. Bromingmeyer from NASA. Viruses, fungi, they prefer an acidic pH, whereas bacteria and parasites, they're going to prefer a more basic or alkaline. The magnets will target those sites in the body when they're placed and bring that pH back into 7.0 to 7.3. These are documented different cases or conditions that have been had relief from biomagnetism. This is data coming out of Latin America. It's been recently translated into English. Biomagnetism and malaria. My mentor, Dr. Garcia, did this study last year with Dr. Frank, the president of the American Medical Society of Acupuncture. They treated all of these kids just with one session of 10 pair placements, so it's a total of 20 magnets placed on the body. All of these kids tested negative with presence or absence of tachyzoids and blood smears for the tachyzoids of malaria. Only 2 kids required 2 sessions. Here's a gal I'm working on right now. She has a arachnoid cyst, so they thought, but it's actually a toxoplasma cyst in the brain, touching the 9th, 10th, and 11th cranial nerves. She's going to need a few more sessions, but she was able to go camping last week, which is amazing, because she was in bed 7 hours a day. This is my daughter. She broke her radius and her ulna on May 1st. We were putting the magnet on her cast every night, and she got to have her cast taken off 3.5 weeks early. Her arm looked like the shape of an S when we went for that x-ray. She was a really brave girl. Here's one of my clients that came from Kalispell, Montana. She had 68, she had a cast put on, it was too tight, and this is after the first session. I should have taken it before, but she was in pain, so I don't care about a picture. I want to get you on the table. I want to help you. I want to help you help yourself. So the cast was put on too tight after she broke her wrist, and then that was the first session, and after the second session, her vascularity was back. Here's my dog, Elvis. He's got a little bit of anxiety, so I put the pairs on him as well. Dr. Garcia says if he had $1 for every person who asked for player placements for their pet, so if anyone's a vet and wants to learn this technique, please come and do so. About 10% of medical, whether a vet, dentistry, they're starting to learn this technique to help complement themselves. This is a 15-year-old HPV vaccine injured kiddo that I've given 2 sessions to. She suffered from postural tachycardia syndrome post-vaccination, where you walking down the hall and you walk into the wall. And she couldn't go to school. Now after 2 sessions, she was able to go and start to do open mics again down in Moscow, Idaho. So that's playing guitar. So that's pretty impressive. So thank you so much. If you have any more questions, please come and see me at the booth. I'm selling biomagnets, and I'm not that good of a vendor because retail isn't really my thing, but I want to sell them to you so you have the opportunity to use them. My forte is really working with people and helping you to find the tools that you need to be successful. Thank you.
Thank you. And we have one final announcement. So you have to learn about these batteries.
Hey guys, Aaron, just wanted to say thank you for putting this together. I'm a big fan of a lot of the people in this room. Paul, Aaron, everybody been following videos. My girl hates me because I sit up at 5 in the morning watching videos of Eric doing things as she's trying to sleep, waking up our 2-year-old. But I was just a guy who fell in love with some of the gentlemen in here. I was asked at a young age, what do you want to be? I said, a mad scientist, and somehow at 42, I turned into that guy. So I have lots of patents, lots of businesses. I'm not selling anything. Brought some products to give away today. If they're on the table outside, take as much as you like. This was a product that we came out with, or came up with about 2 years ago. I was looking for a battery to power my home, and I didn't want to do what some of the guys are doing here with 4 sets of 1,000 pounds of batteries leaking acid and spewing gas. So I do, with some of my products, import tens of millions of batteries a year, export tens of millions of batteries a year. So we turned to our suppliers, looked for the world's smallest, lightest, most affordable solution that can last long, be applicable to anything. And so we've developed these different technologies in little tiny. This is a 100 amp hour, 12 volt. We have a 200 amp hour, 2.5 kilowatts in 14 pounds. Most of you will probably think that's not possible. It's in front of you. You're welcome to buy some, take some, test it, do whatever you like, throw it on the floor. They work. They're fantastic. I call them mobile military packs. And it was sort of a solution to a problem that nobody's addressed. So Tesla did a great job of building, the company Tesla, not the inventor we all love, but built a battery to power homes. I think that's the way of the future. I think it's the way that the technologies are going. And if you have solar, you have a generator of any sort, any of these machines, I came here because I'm interested in it to see if there's some technologies anyone else is doing, but these are available anytime. If you have any questions, ask me. So that's about it. But
thank you. You have a website?
Yeah, you could find us online, gobattery.com. We'll be on Amazon, Walmart, everything, Home Depot, a couple weeks, all that sort of good stuff. But the world's lightest, smallest, most powerful batteries. And another technology, I'll tell you, since you guys are energy enthusiasts, in about 120 days, we're rolling out the first LTO battery. That's a lithium titanium oxide. 30,000 cycle life. So if you know anything about batteries, divide them out 365 days, 30,000. Our batteries will live long beyond everyone in this room. Your grandchildren's grandchildren will be utilizing these batteries. You put them in your house today, your house will be blown away before these batteries will. The power, solar panels, whatever it is that's powering these batteries, they will still be going in 100 years from now. The charge rates and discharge rates are 6 minutes. So if you have a car, walk into your Starbucks, plug your car in. By the time you get out with your fresh latte, your car is from 0 to 100% charged. That will last for well over 100 years. You can discharge it almost instantaneously. They're more along the lines of supercapacitors, but this is lithium technology. They are smaller, lighter, more powerful, and the best part, more affordable than any other battery on the market. And that was our goal, was to make battery storage affordable for everyone, because there's no such thing. So we decided to do that and make power available for everyone. Depends what you need, but we've got something for everyone. So a couple $100 for these little guys, and our LTOs we haven't priced yet. They won't be available for about maybe 100, 120 days. I have no concept of the price yet, but they're going to be cheap. Cheaper than you will spend on any other thing you have ever looked at in your life. And they will be around a lot longer than anyone in this room will. I don't have a booth. Like I said, I'm not here selling anything. Aaron just asked me to speak, so you could find us anywhere. I don't, I've seen a lot of great technologies. I'm fascinated by a lot of the people here. I'm an entrepreneur, so I've learned how to make things, sell them, take them public, make money. I've been the CEO of publicly traded companies. All that sort of good stuff. So I, love some of the things Walt's doing. I would love to say, things like that, technologies anyone has, that's incredible, that's market ready. Talk to me. I could show you how to do it. Very easy. So
You'll be here all through tomorrow?
absolutely.
Okay, all right.
So.
All right. Thank you.